Hey, welcome back. Let's keep talking about the Capcom Pro Tour 2015. Tell them about the money.
Okay, last year at the end of Capcom Cup, at the end of Capcom Cup 2014, they came out and they had this crazy announcement, and they announced that Sony was going to be part of this whole thing, and that they were giving away $500,000 in prize money.
Right.
Next year for Capcom Pro Tour.
AKA this year.
Which is, yes, this year. Now, a lot of people were thinking, what, they're going to give it all out at Capcom Cup? No, they're going to spread it out throughout the year. But let me tell you something, the lion's share is actually going to Capcom Cup. We'll get there in a second.
Dang.
But I do want to point out that the $500,000 that they talked about is in fact not accurate. Because I calculated the totals, and it actually, I think, is $510,000.
Wow.
So they're selling themselves $10K short, I think. So. No, but honestly, this is really awesome. So we mentioned 16 premier events, right? Each one of those 16 premier events will get a bonus $15,000 pot. Bonus. I said bonus twice, but that's fine, because that's how big it is. Mm-hmm. It's bonus. First place will get an extra $7,000. Second place will get an extra $3,000. Third place gets $1,500. Fourth place gets $1,000. Fifth and sixth get $750 each, and seventh and eighth place get $500 each. Bonus on top of the entry fee.
Right.
This is extra.
Right.
So if you have 200 people entering for like $10 or $20 a game, they're already winning that money, and then they're getting that pop bonus on top of that. So $15,000 is being added to every premier event.
That's a lot. It's a lot, for sure.
And then, of course, Evolution is always the biggest event, so they always give a large chunk to there. So just exclusively for EVO, EVO is getting a $50K bonus pot added to that. I'll start from the bottom side here.
Yeah, okay, because it's still impressive.
So third place, which was $1,500 on the premier events, that's seventh and eighth place at EVO. You get $1,500 for getting top 8.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, at least, yeah. So fifth and sixth will get $2,500 each. Fourth place gets $5,000. Third place gets $7,000. Second place, by the way, that's the first prize in the premier events. Third place is that.
Oh, right, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So second place is $10,000, and first place is a bonus $20K.
That's bonus.
Bonus $20K. On top of like $1,600 or maybe $2,000. It's going to
be $2,000.
Oh, that's right. I messed up. I keep thinking last year was $1,600.
No.
Last year was $1,900.
Almost 2,000.
Yeah. So if you think about that,
it's going to be 2,000 people this year.
Yeah. So if you think about that's a lot of money you're going to walk away with $20K on top of that as well. So you win EVO, you win some moolah here.
Oh yeah.
But not as much as the Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be interesting because they have it right now spread out to the top 8 spots.
Yes.
And it is 32 people now, so more people are not making the money
that's true,
at Capcom Cup. But listen to this. 7th and 8th place is already $5,000 each. So if you've made it there, if you've worked this whole year, or if you're Momochi, right? You're
right. He gets a free 5K this year.
Well, if he can get top 8.
To get top 8.
Look, dude, if the guy doesn't drop off any at all.
Yeah, unless he stops playing. Some personal tragedy happens.
Yeah, exactly. Knock on wood, hopefully.
Yeah.
But 5th and 6th place get $10,000 right off the bat.
Yeah.
4th place gets $15K. 3rd place gets $25K. Second place gets $60K.
That's just ridiculous.
$60K.
Like, that number is a lot. It's very large.
But first place, $120K.
Like, I don't even know what do you even say about that? It's like such an astronomical sum for fighting games.
$120,000.
That's
crazy.
So
that's crazy. Yeah. But that's so cool, though. Shout outs to Sony for putting this prize money in here. And like I said, 16 premier events plus Evo plus Capcom Cup with the totals. So Evo was $50K and Capcom Cup prize pool is $250,000. They're giving away $250,000 for Capcom.
Jeez. And
I calculated the total for that, and that was $510,000. So that is exactly where all $500,000 is going. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shout-outs to Sony, shout-outs to Capcom as well for getting this. And this is why, you know, last year you have to do the things that you do. You end up in the war field. It looks great.
Right.
And, you know, hopefully this year this also means we get, like, a lot more sponsors and stuff like that. There's a lot of potential for very cool things. So
yeah, some good stuff could happen, yeah.
It's exciting times.
It is an exciting time. Yeah, I agree. Now, people were saying that Momochi might not need to travel around because, of course, he's already guaranteed a spot in the Capcom Cup. But do you see the dough that's hanging out there? You think he's not going to walk around plucking it from the low branches? Like, come on. Just going to walk by this money tree? No.
Dude, if you're
going to stop at the money tree and take what he can get.
If you're as good as Momochi, that's just like, free money?
Yeah.
Free money?
It's the money tree.
Free money? Yeah, exactly. So... But, I mean, it's really interesting. So, obviously, with all this money on the line here. So, let's take a look at last year, right? Okay. Let's take a look at last year. We had a lot of different strategies from a lot of people. Some people went to as many events as possible.
Right.
You know, and then there was, like, some players like Daigo, and even PR Rog mentioned this, too. He was, after he qualified at NCR, he kind of stopped going to events a little bit.
Right.
Both of them were kind of the strategy where they wanted to save their strategy, save their tech a little bit, right? I don't know. Like, what do you think? Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think you should just go to as many events as possible?
I don't think that's financially viable. Like, I don't think it's financially reasonable to give up the chance at making that much money. If especially it's your job to do this, which it is for those guys. Yeah. Well, maybe not for Ed, but for a lot of guys, it is still. And I feel like that would be financially irresponsible.
Right. I mean, I do, honestly, like, to be fair, I believe Daigo, like, I think he makes a pretty good amount of money for just being sponsored.
Yeah, I've heard he makes a bunch of money, and it's endorsements and book deals or whatever. Exactly. It's not just that. But there are plenty of players who it's their job. And, like, they need to be traveling around if they have any expectation of making money. I mean, you can make a reasonable living. Whoever wins is going to get, like, a nice living, okay? Like, you're doing great. Okay? But even if you just get second place, like, that's a great, like, you've made a great year's salary.
Right. You're talking about Capcom Cup. Right, Capcom Cup. 60K right there. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
But if you win a couple of premier events, if you get top 8 at Capcom Cup, like, you could really be making, like, a minimum wage salary for the year. That's it. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So
anyway, for somebody like Daigo, who, as you said, he doesn't like to show off what he has if he doesn't need to. Thinking about it in financial terms, if, say he really believes, if he saves up all of his tech, he can win that $120,000.
Right.
Is it better to go for that than to try to win a bunch of premier events, which are $7K each?
Right, yeah.
Maybe. But if he even gets third place rather than first place, then already that's a huge gamble. It's not worth it already. So I don't know. That's a tough call.
I mean, personally, for selfish reasons, I would like it if they all went out to all the events and stuff like that, because I just want to see good Street Fighter all year long, right? And the coolest thing about this is, man, there's a lot of people are going to be gunning really hard for this, right? They're going to be playing, because like you said, you don't even have to win Capcom Cup. If you get in the top 8, you're making a good chunk of change already right there, right? And so a lot of these people have a lot of good motivation now. So I have a funny feeling a lot of people are going to be coming back for this and playing really hard. We're not going to see a lot of the people who are like, I won't travel as much kind of thing.
I think you're right.
And honestly, the experience of playing in a tournament is so vital. Like, a lot of people who don't play in tournaments, when they go play in their first tournament, one of the first things they usually email us about is just like, I went to my first tournament. My God, I was super nervous, and how do you play in this environment, and and all this stuff like that. Not only that, but you also have people when they travel, sometimes they don't do as well.
That's true.
Right? So you kind of have to get that under your belt as well. Like, let's look at Snake Eyes at Capcom Cup last year. He buckled under the pressure. The stage and everything like that kind of got to him, know. And traveling a lot more helps in that kind of thing. Because if you're beating up on the same people at Wednesday night fights week after week after week,
it becomes very comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, traveling I think is going to be super important for a lot of these guys. And I'm just going to say this: if anyone watching this is like a potential player sponsor, like, you got Smug is still out there, Chris G, I believe, is still not sponsored, I'm sure he's going to go hard into this game. There's a lot of potentially good people to sponsor now.
I don't think Snake Eyes is sponsored yet.
Oh, that's right. I don't think Snake Eyes.
He remains unsponsored.
Yeah, that's right.
And there are some up-and-coming players, too. So, yeah, there's... And of course, it's not just in the U.S. There's plenty of players like that in East Asia and Europe. And
dude, I thought Curse picking up NuckleDu. Was it Curse that picked him up?
Yeah, although now it's Liquid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, when they picked up NuckleDu right when he qualified, I thought that was genius.
For sure.
I thought that was amazing. But, I mean, look, a lot of these players, they deserve sponsors. And if they travel and if they can get to Capcom Cup and if they can win this stuff, that's really huge for your organization as an esports sponsoring group.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Just throwing in my little bone to the players out there, because some of these guys, like, one of my criticisms, and it's not even a criticism of Smug, I think he's one of the top 3 players in the States, right? I just wish he would travel more.
Right.
So I want to see this guy sponsored. I want to see him go and kill everybody, like, across the country. I want to see him beat down everybody, you know what I mean? And I think that would be fantastic. He's easily one of the most fun guys to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yes. Another thing that I'm interested in these prize pots for is maybe a little bit of a tangential thing.
Okay.
What I'm hoping is that tournaments that have priced that have only had top 8 payouts will reconsider that and make it top 16 or more. Because what their thoughts were, we want to reward whoever's first place or top 3 or top 8, depending on the event, for doing as well as they did, and we don't want to so dilute it by paying out 16 or whatever that we wouldn't feel like those players were getting rewarded.
Right.
Well, now those players are getting rewarded.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
If 5 people enter SoCal Regionals, the winner is getting $7,000.
Right.
So that's not a concern. So I really hope that encourages fighting game events, especially the premier events, but sort of also other ones just by way of copying to pay out more, because I feel like that really helps bring up more players.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good way to get more players involved, and it feels really nice if you make top 16, but it feels nicer to make top 16 and get your your venue and entry fees back. So
I mean, that's what Keats has done year after year at UFGT.
Keats is doing a great job.
He's always been doing that. He's always paid out a little bit more spread, and like you said, though, a lot of people are frustrated by that because they're the ones who could win. Right, so you disappoint maybe 2 or 3 people, but you make a lot more people happy that way, right? But I mean, and then of course there was the one year that Evo spread it out a little bit more, and then Shen didn't win as much money, and then a lot of people complained about that, right?
Exactly.
And so Evo had to change their pay scale back again. And so, like you said, now with all these bonus pots, you could probably go down to something like that where the winner gets only 40% or whatever like that, but they get so much more money.
Right.
I actually never thought of that. That's actually a really cool idea. I really like that idea.
Yeah, I hope that happens. Back in the day, it was only top 3 payout, right?
Yes.
But if you had a tournament that was 50 people or 100 people, which would have been gigantic, then top 3 is like pretty reasonable, right? Okay, 3% of people are getting money.
Right.
But that had to change when there were 1,000 entrants, even 500 entrants. That has to change, and it did. Yeah. It changed the top 8. It used to be that nobody cared about top 8. Who got 5th place? You had no idea. Didn't matter. Top 3 only. Now it's top 8, And I kind of hope that in the future it'll be like top 16 or top 9 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you think of something like World Series of Poker, right? I mean, obviously the entry fees are gigantic, so like first place wins like just gobs of money no matter what. But I mean, there's always that whole bubble concept where everyone plays, and then once it gets to that point where all of a sudden there's only like 5 people left who aren't going to make the money. They always have to like implement all these rules so people stop turtling and stuff like that. And you know, but it's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
it's a big deal for everyone who makes it in
threshold.
there. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, look, if there are 2,000 players at Evo, only paying 8, it just seems unreasonable. It really does.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because, dude, like so many people like Dominion, I remember got 9th last year and stuff. Like all those guys who get 9th place or top 16 at Evo, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that is a big deal. So.
Well, I hope that's what happens, but I guess we'll see. So Street Fighter, is it esports now? And I mean that not even insincerely. There was an interview with Capcom, I forget who it was, but like some Capcom rep, where he was talking about esports. He was like, we're trying to do what we can do to like make esports happen.
Well, look, I've always been anti-esports.
Me too.
But I wasn't anti-esports in that I was anti those organizations, big organizations like MLG and stuff like that, right? I don't want all the competitive games under one umbrella.
Yeah.
I've always wanted the fighting game community to eventually get to a point where it could sustain careers and be successful and people watch and stuff like that. But I wanted to do it on our own. I wanted the FGC to get there on their own, right? And so it's definitely looking like this, right? A lot of people are going to be like, well, Sony obviously did. But, you know, Sony wouldn't have put that money in there if the FGC hadn't done all this work.
Well, you're right.
And not only that, but look, we just talked about all these ranking events and premier events. None of those things are Sony.
And there's a million of them.
Right, and it's still the community. It's still grassroots. We're the ones getting it there,
so that's
right?
a good point.
So I've always wanted to get to that point, you know, where we could be successful like this. I just wanted to do it on our own. Unfortunately, the term esports kind of for a while got associated with stuff like MLG and stuff like that. Really, honestly, the thing I hate the most about esports is just the word.
I feel like we lost that war, man.
Oh, we've lost that war.
I feel like we lost that. I came to that realization not too long ago. I was holding out hope, you know? And then I heard that Disney's doing that show, right? And not in the official press release, but in like surrounding stuff, they're talking about esports, the word esports.
Right.
And like, look, if there's a show that's geared toward kids, and like the first time they hear about competitive gaming, it's esports. That's it.
God.
It's esports. That's it. It's over.
Dude, you're so right.
It's all the kids are just gonna grow up and they're gonna be like esports.
Well, because you're gonna have I can talk about it. You're gonna have a talk at GDC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have a talk at GDC, and you're gonna try to not say the word esports as much as possible, right?
Correct. I'm gonna give a talk on esports law at GDC Esports without mentioning esports. That's good. So I'm like doing this whole song and dance of like skirting around the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly just hate the word. Like, dude, seriously, like, I just had a discussion with some people about the capitalization of esports, whether it was capital E, lowercase s, or lowercase e, capital S. And I was just like, oh, God, esports, why?
I just don't want it to be sports, man. I like it being video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
I like being a video gamer. I don't need to be like I was an athlete. I played sports.
Right.
I don't need it. I don't need this to also be that. So
exactly. So I mean, like I said, so to me, sports is a celebration of the physical prowess of people, right, and just their ability. But, you know, obviously a lot of things start blurring that, like, you know, poker's like, we want to be a sport, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I just think that there should be a completely different term for the celebration of the mind. You know what I mean?
Primarily mental.
Yeah, so Magic the Gathering, Scrabble, chess, poker, video games, all those things should have a different word.
Isn't it just called games?
Yeah, but, I mean, sports games are called games too, right? Like, I almost want to, like, the first word that I came up with, and it's kind of dumb, but it's kind of makes sense but kind of dumb was just the word strat. Like short for strategy, right? What if we just called everything strats? You know, like I'm playing a strat, you know, like this is a strat.
That's genius.
Because it sounds kind of like sport, but it means a completely different thing.
And it's one syllable.
Yeah.
Which is the downside of competitive video games.
Right, exactly. So I was just like, just make up a word. And strat is not a real word. But it like encompasses everything about these mind games.
I like it. But
oh, okay, cool.
It's over though.
Oh no, we've lost the war already.
Yeah.
We've lost the war.
If you had come up with that like 10 years ago. Because look, the word esports is very stupid. So like the first time somebody came up with esports, it definitely sounded as stupid as strat sounds.
Yeah.
If not stupider.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like somebody woke up one day and was like, we'll call it esports, and then he went to like his business partner or something, and we're like, we'll call it esports, and definitely that business partner said that's the stupidest name I've ever heard. but I guess like
we can
I can't
latch on
think of anything
to sports.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the word sport comes from the word disport, which is mean to engage in like leisurely activities. So it's already the shortening of another word. So once you first started calling it sport, it probably sounded stupid, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's where the word sport came. It was already a shortening of another word. But we've been saying sport for hundreds of years now, so of course it sounds completely normal, right? So, you know, if we said the word strat for the next 50 years, it would sound normal.
It's gonna have to remain a fantasy world.
Yeah, we esports now.
It sucks. So just.
But no, I mean, like obviously Street Fighter's getting into that realm.
I mean, look, and in terms of the size of it, it's $500,000 is great, and this is all fantastic. Okay, it's a major improvement over what was going on, but it's still an order of magnitude away from a couple orders even from League of Legends and Dota.
Oh yeah, for sure. We haven't quite filled the Staples Center yet, but. You know what? To be fair, Capcom Cup still hasn't announced their locations.
Also, to be fair, they didn't fill up the Staples Center. It was the kind of thing where like part of it was sectioned off, you know?
That's right.
Yeah, come on, League.
It was like only the lower half League. Or something. No one was in the.
I think it was both bowls, but I think it was like for a concert there they'll just like make a stage like in the middle of the ring, and then like the back of it you can't see it.
Right. Gotcha,
yeah, come on, League.
Okay.
No, but that was fantastic. Oh wait, was that League or was that Dota? That was League, right?
That was in the Staples Center.
Yeah.
I believe that was League. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, I think it's cool. Street Fighter is getting there a little bit, and what I don't want to have happen. I do not want to have happen is the other games to lag. So fortunately, Street Fighter has the big name, so Sony was recognizing them and did all this stuff, but I want to see Tekken still up there. I want to see Namco do a lot of stuff. I want to see ArcSys, /Axis, /Atlas or whatever it is, keep that going.
For sure.
Obviously, Iron Galaxy with Killer Instinct, Lab Zero with Skullgirls, you know what I mean? Again.
I mean, Microsoft could be doing it with Killer Instinct.
Right.
Because they have a lot of money.
Hey, well, Tecmo is also doing. Remember we talked last week that Tecmo is doing that, where it's culminating at TFC it was culminating at NEC. I think it was.
Wasn't it TFC? Are you sure?
Was it TFC?
I believe so.
I can't. But Tecmo's doing a Tecmo Cup essentially kind of thing, and so I hope Nintendo does a Nintendo Cup. You know what I mean? So let's just hope. I don't want this only to be about Capcom. I don't want this only to be about Street Fighter. Because even within Street Fighter, I mean, even within Capcom, like it's called Capcom Cup, but where's Marvel?
Right.
Right. So, I would like to see other fighting games still be able to keep up with this.
Totally agree.
And here's one of the little side effects that a lot of people don't talk about too, though, is that with Capcom getting into all these ranking tournaments, getting all into all these events, right? None of these events are Capcom exclusive. None of them are Street Fighter exclusive, right?
Oh, wow.
So they actually get into more news kind of things or talk about like, oh, here's this premiere event. People get hyped up about it. They tune in during the course of the weekend. They may catch Mortal Kombat 10. They may catch some of these other events and stuff like that, right? So it will benefit all the other games. I just hope a lot of these other games can do a good job sucking these people in, just grabbing a hold of them and stuff like that. So it's not only going to benefit Capcom, it'll benefit them the most.
Sure.
But you can turn it into an advantage for your game, you know, if you get the chance, if you work it right. So.
Yeah. I hear that. Anything else to talk about with respect to CPT?
I mean, we could probably talk about CPT forever, but
I don't really know what else we would say.
Actually, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Let's go to a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some other stuff.
You got it.
All right, cool. Be right back.